Today, we're going to learn how to correct yourself smoothly with I meant. You'll learn how to replace a wrong meaning quickly and choose a polite repair when the moment feels sensitive. One careless sentence can sound stronger than you intended. Start with, "Sorry, I misspoke. I meant the deadline is tight." A repair works when it gives the listener the meaning you intended. Compare, "I didn't mean it like that," with, "I meant to say the timeline is tight, not that the plan is unrealistic." The second version is stronger because it replaces the wrong idea. Say it once, then notice how little extra explanation you need.
Sometimes the words are not wrong, but the listener interprets them differently. Then, "I meant that" is useful. For example, "I meant that we should review the draft, not reject it." Keep the opener light and stress review and not reject. The listener should hear the corrected meaning, not your nervousness.
Now use a 4-step repair map. Notice what went wrong, acknowledge it briefly, state the intended meaning completely, then continue. "What I mean is that we need more time to test the process" works because the new message clearly replaces the old one. Here's the key test. After your repair, does the listener know what you mean? If you stop at "Sorry, I meant," the answer is no. Finish the thought. For a wrong day, say, "Sorry, I meant Thursday, not Wednesday." For a broader misunderstanding, give a complete clause and move forward. Use "let me rephrase that" when one word change is not enough. Say the frame, pause briefly, then give the clearer message, "Let me rephrase that." The design is strong, but the color contrast needs work. Repeat the full line slowly once, then again as a natural response.
For a light correction with a teammate, "Actually, what I meant was" can sound natural. Listen, "Actually, what I meant was Thursday afternoon, not Wednesday." The opener is light. The corrected detail does the real work. Try the same pattern with a meeting time, a number, or another low-stakes detail.
In a formal meeting, use a careful opener. "If I may clarify" signals that you are correcting the record without sounding defensive. Try, "If I may clarify, I meant that the budget is limited, not that the proposal lacks value." The corrected meaning should follow immediately. Decide whether a confirmation check is useful. After a simple correction like a wrong day, you usually do not need one. After a complex policy, add "Does that make sense?" For example, "I meant that approval is required above the limit, not for every order." Does that make sense? "Sorry, I misspoke" means your wording did not express what you intended. It is an acknowledgement, not the whole repair. Follow it with, "Sorry, I misspoke. I meant the deadline is tight, not the project." Notice the order. Acknowledge, replace the meaning, then continue.
Use "actually" carefully. In a relaxed conversation, "Actually, I meant Thursday" can correct a small detail. But, "Actually, you misunderstood me" may sound like blame. Compare them and choose the cooperative version. Your goal is to fix your message, not prove the listener made a mistake.
Now focus on "I meant to say." Use it when the problem is the wording you produced. Listen to the rhythm. "I meant to say the deadline was tight." Keep the repair frame light and stress the new information. Then make an example by replacing one word or short phrase you said incorrectly. You can fix a slip, but the next choice matters. Are you replacing wording or clarifying the idea behind it? If the words were wrong, use "I meant to say." If the listener formed the wrong interpretation, use "I meant that." Test the distinction on the next examples. Listen to "What I mean is" as one smooth chunk. The smaller words stay light, while the important information comes after them. "What I mean is that we need more time to test the process." Use this frame when the first sentence was too vague. It gives you room to reformulate the whole idea instead of changing one word.
For a small factual slip, keep the repair compact. "Sorry, I meant Friday morning, not Thursday." The corrected item comes first, and the contrast removes the old meaning. Repeat it with stronger stress on Friday and Thursday. Then imagine the meeting continuing immediately.
Now test "I meant to say" on a wording problem. Suppose you called a design bad, but intended to say it was difficult to scan. A better repair is "I meant to say the design is challenging, not bad." The structure tells the listener your first wording was inaccurate and gives the replacement directly. A common error is choosing a familiar phrase without finishing the meaning. Which line is complete? "I meant that," or "I meant that we should ask for more data before deciding." The second works because the listener receives the proposal. Say it aloud, then identify the idea. Ask for more data before deciding. Another error is rephrasing without adding precision. Let me rephrase that. Bad still leaves a vague judgment. Compare it with, let me rephrase that. The task is difficult, but it is manageable. The second version is complete and balanced. Change task to a real work situation.
Over-apologizing delays the useful information. A stronger repair is, sorry, I misspoke. I meant the deadline is unrealistic, not the project itself. The apology takes one moment. The correction names the real issue. Notice how the focus moves from embarrassment to clarity instead of repeating sorry.
Watch the tense. Because you are correcting something you just said, meant is usually the right form. Compare I mean to say the deadline was tight with I meant to say the deadline was tight. For a simple date, keep it shorter. Sorry, I meant Thursday, not Wednesday. One more error is stopping too soon. Sorry, I meant signals a repair, but does not complete one. Ask yourself, after I meant, did I state the replacement message? If not, finish it. The listener should never have to guess what you intended. Apply the rule to sensitive feedback. You said, the design is bad, but that sounds broader than your real point. Use, I meant to say the layout is challenging to scan, not that the design is bad. This narrows the criticism to one feature. Say it calmly, then notice the difference between judging the whole design and identifying one usable problem.
Numbers can create misunderstandings even when your grammar is correct. Listen, sorry, I meant 15 units, not 50. Stress, 15, and 50, so the contrast is easy to hear. Keep, I meant lighter. Repeat the sentence once slowly, then once at normal speed.
When your whole conclusion needs correction, use a full rephrase. You said, sales fell in every region, but only 2 regions fell. Say, let me rephrase that, sales fell in 2 regions, while the other regions remain stable. The repair supplies the complete accurate picture. Pause briefly after that. Take a sentence where one missing phrase reverses your position. You typed, I don't think we should test it, but you support testing. Your real message is about launching too early. Repair it with, I meant to say I don't think we should launch it before testing. This is better than saying only, I agree with testing, because it restores the recommendation, test first, launch later. Create a similar correction with before. Try a deadline example. You said, this needs to be done today, but you meant that work should start today and finish later. Say, sorry, I meant it needs to be started today. The final version is due Friday. The first sentence fixes the action. The second gives the real deadline. Repeat both naturally.
Now practice contrastive stress. Say, sorry, I misspoke. I meant the deadline is too tight, not the project itself. On the second repetition, stress, deadline, and project. Keep, I meant lighter. The listener should hear exactly what changed. Try the same pattern with budget, not proposal.
Listen to the linking in I meant to say the deadline was tight. The words meant to connect smoothly and to stays light. The main stress falls on deadline and tight. The speaker is correcting wording used a moment ago, not changing a past event. Repeat the sentence slowly, then at natural speed, keeping the repair frame connected. A good repair sounds cooperative. Compare, you misunderstood me with sorry, I meant the client needs more time before deciding. The first focuses on the listener's mistake. The second focuses on your intended message. Say the second version, then replace client with team. Keep responsibility for clarity with the speaker. Guided practice. You told a coworker, your slides are messy, but your real point is that the order is hard to follow. Pause and repair it. A strong answer is, perhaps I didn't explain that well. What I mean is that the slide order is difficult to follow. The softener reduces friction. The second sentence gives precise feedback.
Here is a lower stakes example. A teammate thinks the schedule is fixed, but you meant it may change. Say, actually, I meant that the schedule may change. Actually opens a light correction, and the rest gives the real meaning. Now remove actually and say the core clarification again.
Now listen to a longer repair. What I meant to say was that yesterday's meeting was canceled. Keep the phrase moving as one thought. Do not pause after every small word. The main stress belongs on yesterday's meeting and canceled. Repeat it once slowly, then again at normal speed. Finally, change meeting to call while keeping the grammar intact.
Sorry, I misspoke. I meant the deadline is difficult, not the project. Keep the apology light, stress the contrast, then change one detail and repeat. Build your own wording repair with I meant to say. Start from the proposal is weak. Replace it with something specific. I meant to say the proposal needs more evidence. The repair does not erase the feedback. It makes it accurate. Create one more sentence about timing, cost, or evidence, and say it without a long apology.
The case gets harder when the listener misunderstood your intention, not one word. Suppose a coworker thinks you want to cancel a meeting, but you only meant it may start later. Use, I meant that we may need to start later, not cancel it. Ask yourself, am I correcting wording or clarifying interpretation? Here, interpretation is the issue.
For a vague statement, what I mean is, gives you room to rebuild the message. You said, the launch is difficult, and the team thinks you want to cancel it. Clarify. What I mean is that the launch date is difficult to meet with the current testing schedule. Now change one detail while keeping the same logic. Use let me rephrase that when your first sentence sounded too strong or assign blame. For example, let me rephrase that. The handoff process took longer than expected. This moves the focus from a person or team to the process. Say it once with a brief pause after that. Now choose based on stakes. A wrong meeting day may need only, sorry, I meant Thursday. A client-facing misunderstanding about budget or responsibility needs more precision. Ask 3 questions. Is the message sensitive? Is the setting formal? Is the meaning complex? Your answers tell you how much repair language is useful.
Apply the system without a model first. You told a teammate Wednesday, but meant Thursday afternoon. Repair it naturally. One answer is, actually, what I meant was Thursday afternoon, not Wednesday. It fits because the stakes are low, the error is specific, and the corrected detail arrives quickly. Try it without actually.
Raise the stakes. In a client meeting, your sentence sounds like a rejection, but you only mean the budget cannot support the full scope. Say, if I may clarify, I meant that our current budget cannot support the full scope, not that we are rejecting the proposal. Keep the tone calm. After a complex clarification, check whether the listener followed the distinction. Does that make sense? Is useful when 2 conditions could still be confused. Say the full repair first, then add the question lightly. Do not use it after every tiny correction. Use confirmation when it helps, not as a habit. You say, I don't think Maya's plan will work, but you only mean the deadline will not work. Repair it before the model. Keep it to 1 or 2 sentences, separate the plan from the deadline, and avoid blame. Say your answer now, then compare it with the next response.
A clean model is, sorry, I misspoke. I meant that the deadline won't work, not that Maya's plan won't work. It protects the idea and names the concern.
Time for retrieval. When the problem is the words you intended to produce, which frame fits better? I meant to say or I meant that. Answer first. The model is I meant to say. Prove it with, I meant to say the proposal needs more evidence. Here the wording itself is being replaced. What if your words were possible but the listener drew the wrong conclusion? Use I meant that or what I mean is to clarify. For example, what I mean is that the launch date is difficult to meet with the testing schedule. Change launch date to another work issue and stay precise. Connect the system with one decision. What repair does the listener need? A wrong detail needs replacement. A wrong interpretation needs clarification. A sensitive message may need softness or formality. A complex clarification may need confirmation. Choose the smallest frame that fixes the meaning.
You said Thursday, but meant Friday morning. Say, sorry, I meant Friday morning, not Thursday. It directly replaces the wrong detail. Use contrastive stress on Friday and Thursday. If the listener now has the correct information, the repair has worked.
Save this contrast. When your wording was too strong, replace it with the exact wording you intended. I meant to say the design is challenging, not bad. The phrase is useful because it corrects the language without avoiding the real feedback. Keep the repair brief, specific, and complete, then move back to the conversation instead of apologizing again. Save this distinction. I meant that clarifies your intended idea. Say, I meant that we should ask for more data before deciding. Keep the function words light and stress the new information. Use this when the listener's interpretation is the problem, not one wrong word. If the issue is sensitive, Add an appropriate opener. Remember the full rephrase option. Let me rephrase that. The task is difficult, but it is manageable. Say the opener is one chunk, pause, then give the clearer statement. Your routine is simple. Notice the misunderstanding. Choose the shortest suitable repair. State the intended meaning. Stress the correction and move forward.